What's up, everybody? It's your boy Sai. I'm here over at ATF, and I've been joined today, with Nick, who's going to be here talking with me about UFC 279, Diaz versus Ferguson. That's right, the cards, the fight that no one knew that we actually really wanted. It's super exciting. I absolutely enjoyed it. What's your initial thoughts on that fight card, Nick? Was that something that you enjoyed from start to stop?
So I don't know if it had like highs and then it had some lows in it. That's just Johnny Walker looked really well. The first round, kind of his first win in like 3 years. That card was those two fights obviously were the two fights that stayed the same. Then you get these jumbled cards, and I thought the jumbled fights were kind of exactly what I thought they were going to be. I thought D-Rod was going to be able to throw some more hands, and I thought the Leech just got absolutely robbed because I had him winning two rounds. And then you get the Khamzat, Kevin Holland fight was exactly kind of what I thought it was. Is Khamzat was just going to ragdoll Kevin Holland. We've seen in the past that Kevin Holland is not a wrestler. Just got outclassed by Brunson, and we know that that's not his strong suit, and we know that what Khamzat can do, and that's exactly what happened. Then you get to the Nate Diaz fight. It was just a fun fight, man. Way funner than what we were going to see, I think, with Khamzat and Nate. And we got to see a lot of hands thrown.
Right. Yeah.
It just, Nate's a showmanship, and Tony didn't look like old Tony, but he looked, but he didn't look like old man Tony either.
This is exactly what we were saying on the show as well. Ash was just like, this Tony doesn't look right. It doesn't look like the Tony that we know and love. I mean, he had some shades of him in round 3, which he had won, and he moved really well. But ultimately, it was almost like, what's going on here? I mean, the fact that he tapped out, look, Diaz has been training for a wrestling bout. He has been. He's teed up his hams out. Like, he's going to get that down. He didn't even do any boxing in his camp, which is mad. But ultimately, someone like Ferguson, like he had his arm almost ripped off by Beneil Dariush.
It didn't tap. You're right. I forgot about that, and that just shows you like how hard Nate had him in there, because it looked like at first I didn't even see the tap. The camera didn't have it on the right angle. Then they showed it again later. But that just shows you how good Nate had it in, because I forgot you were right about the Beneil Dariush. I remember seeing like Tony's arm just. And I think Charles Oliveira had him in a spot too, with his leg, the fight before that. So like, it's something Tony does not tap very easily.
He's the type of guy to lose a limb before he taps. Goes out on the shield.
Yeah,
do you know what I
mean?
He
does exactly 100%. And there was times where Tony looked good. I mean, I thought he was good. I was getting nervous in the third where it looked like he was just going to chop down the tree. Got Nate in that shin. And Nate kind of just shook it off and was like walking around, was shaking his head like, why didn't Tony just, do something? He got into the Diaz mind games, because, those are the Diaz boys play those mind games that mess with you. And he got caught up in the antics.
He did. He really did. And look, it was smart. I mean, do you think, and we're getting all over the place, I guess, with this, but I don't want to stop, because this conversation is really getting somewhere. Because do you think, should that fight have happened between Diaz and Khamzat Chimaev, would you reckon the odds were, because it said that Kevin Holland had better odds against Khamzat Chimaev than Diaz did, but do you think, knowing or seeing what we saw tonight, you think that it could have been quite competitive if Diaz actually did fight Khamzat?
I think it would have been, because here's the thing, is because what can't Kevin Holland do? He can't wrestle. No. What can Nate Diaz do? Nate Diaz, he can wrestle. Sure, and if Khamzat gets in a spot where he's getting loose, Nate Diaz grabs an arm, a leg, and next thing you know, Khamzat's in real trouble. Yeah. And if he was going to go out there, Nate wouldn't have went out in the first round like that. I mean, he's going to go out. Khamzat's going to go out there and just run like break bat out of hell. You know what I mean? It's like go, and he took off sprinting towards Kevin Holland. He's not going to do that against Nate Diaz, or if he did, he would have got real tired. So it's hard to say like what would have happened, but I just think that Nate Diaz definitely would have stood a better chance, just due to the fact that Khamzat could have got caught, and in a submission very easily with Nate, because that's what Nate can do.
That's it. It's literally the capability of Nate, and it's just honestly, I'm impressed about how that fight sort of went, how he was able to turn it around. But let's talk a bit more about Hamzat Chimaev, right? And that Kevin Holland fight. So I thought that was going to be certainly quite exciting. I mean, I might have been one of the only people in the world that thought Kevin Holland was going to do something like that.
I was
sniping.
I was
on the entry.
Yeah, I was rooting for Kevin. I mean, because like because he was just kind of, I've always been a big mouth fan. You know, he just, the way he talks, he just has a lot of fun in there. But I just knew it's a bad matchup for him. And I was hoping that maybe he'll catch him. Maybe, you know, just keep him at a distance. But that he didn't have no opportunity to do any of that.
Honestly. I mean, I thought he was only going to have a finite amount of chances. This I knew. And I thought that he might at least have 1 or 2 chances. That one chance, that one window he had was no bigger than half a second or a second. And that's the moment when he's shooting in and he could have had a chance of like Masvidal him, like what Masvidal done to Askren. That was the only chance he had if it was ever going to happen. And, you know, it was slim enough as it was. And then after that, nothing, you know. Rolling with him, though, are you impressed at how he sort of, you know, rolled with him on the ground and sort of broke out into the scrambles? I mean, I thought that was pretty impressive.
I mean, it was impressive, but it's not like we've seen Hamzat do that. I feel like, you know what I mean? I've seen him do those. He didn't do anything that I haven't really seen, you know, like he beat a guy in the first round, mauled him. And then that was it, you know, like, it's not like when he fought Burns, we saw stuff that we hadn't seen. Number one, it looked like in the second he got gassed, he got rocked, recovered, you know, like he made a natural progression when, you know, we saw things like, hey, he can be hurt, but he can also, that chin is still there because what he still did to Burns in the third. Right. And he went the longevity of, you know, like, oh, hey, you know what? And then he has questions after that. Hey, if it got into championship rounds, could his gas tank hold up? You know, and that goes back to him fighting Diaz. If that went to the 4 and 5, we know Nate Diaz can go probably 10 rounds if he needed to. Right. You know,
I don't know where he taps into that source of energy, but somewhere, right? He gets it from somewhere. And that's it. It's the question I think against the Hamzat fight is, can Kevin Holland weather the storm? I don't know. I'm not confident he could. Can Diaz weather the storm? He is more likely to be able to weather the storm. And, you know, that's the idea with someone like Hamzat, weather the storm. And you could see the amount of output Hamzat had in that first round, all of his attempts, everything he was trying. It was just a case of Kevin Holland needed to just get past that. And I believe it could have been a bit of a different fight later on. But you're right. You know, Gilbert Burns weathered the storm of Hamzat Chimaev, and we saw a competitive fight as it sort of reached later rounds. But
But that shows you there's levels to this game, you know, and Kevin Holland's just not there yet. Like he may never get there. He'll always be a fun fighter, but I don't know if he'll ever be like a title contender, top 5 fighter, you know, like he'll probably always middle around that 10 to 15 range in any weight class. But because I mean, you look at some of these guys in the welterweight class. Shavkat Rakhmonov. I mean, is Kevin Holland beating him? Probably not. Like, there's just some absolute dogs. He needs to stay in the strikers. And D-Rod was the perfect matchup for him. He got the worst matchup, and he knew that. Like when they asked him last night, "Hey, you like this matchup?" No, but it's going to be fun. I don't think that was fun. Even him getting ragdolled like he was on a roller coaster. You know?
Yeah. I didn't look fun to me either. But, you know, you're right. D-Rod would have been in a perfect matchup for him. D-Rod got a lucky win there, I think, against Li Jingliang. Did you also have Li Jingliang winning that?
Yeah, 100%. So on my show, we fight for this. We pick the picks on our show, and you get the title belt. So the only difference I had was between D-Rod and Leach. I took D-Rod, and my co-host took the Leach. Well, D-Rod somehow snakes it out, so I get to be still champion next on the next pay-per-view, baby.
Love that. Passing the belt, keeping the champion, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. That's really awesome. And you know, on our side, Jordan and I, we both went for Lee, the Leech. And, you know, we thought he had the Leech advantage. I thought it was going to be good. And then you had someone like D-Rod who gone and took it by split decision. And Ash sitting in the middle, of course, got the decision, which he was surprised about. And so, as much as we both were as well. I don't know. It shouldn't have happened, but it happened.
It should. It was. Leech had the worst week of his life, right? Like he he learned to speak a little English for the press conference. Then the press conference gets canceled, and he's wearing like this fresh suit. Like ESPN did a special on him getting his fresh suit, and he's all happy dancing in his suit. Can't even show it off to the world because the press conference happens. Gets the worst fight, right? Like gets the worst of the fights for him. Like he could have made a way. Like he could have beat Tony Ferguson. I think he could have beat Tony. And then he could have made his name off of Tony because that's, beating the legend. That would just, your stock rises, right?
Absolutely.
But instead, you get a guy that's 10 pounds over you the day before the fight, much less fight day. I mean, D-Rod looked like he weighed about 30 pounds more than the Leech.
I thought he was going to use wrestling more to utilize that weight advantage.
Well, D-Rod's just a striker that,
But I thought he might looks to find that edge at least.
Yeah, try to find it. Yeah. And then just didn't do it. And then I'm thinking the Leech's win. And then he gets screwed over by the judges. I mean, the Leech just had a bad week. I hope Dana gave that poor kid a bag of cash more than he gave the Nelk boys the other, for their birthday.
No, well, look, bro. I hear you exactly. It's just been a bit downhill for him, and yeah, the Tony Ferguson matchup would have been a better matchup for him. Absolutely. Poor Leech. But the next fight down, and I'm actually going for the whole entire card here because just the content on this is actually really quite juicy. And for us, we put this to be our performance of the night. It's a fight of the night because it was just so backs and forwards, so clean, so crisp. We love the striking and just love the sort of the dance between these two fighters, and that's Irina Aldana versus Macy Chiasson. So, what was your opinions on that fight? Would you have had that up there ranking in terms of your sort of fight of the night as well?
Yeah, I might have gave it to the Diaz and fight of the night is to Diaz and Ferguson, but I mean this fight was really close as well. Like I had it 1-1 going into the third very easily, and up until it was almost even, and then Chiasson gets the takedown, and you're like, oh, that she's gonna win this fight now because it was 1-1, and they're gonna score that takedown towards her, and then just out of nowhere gets that liver kick that just factory resets her body and it's over. I thought she was injured. She was injured, man. Like, cause she was curled up in a ball. And I was like, oh, she's hurt. And then they're like, no, she got a liver kick and just factory reset. Like she was a baby, an infant back in her mom's tummy. That's the way she was curled up.
She found the reset button. That's it.
That's
it. Literally heel kick came right up. And honestly, I thought she broke a rib or something like that. I mean, she was in pain, fetal position.
Yeah, she was in the fetal position, crying, and it's like, I mean, man, and it was just a liver kick that hit the old factory reset.
Yeah, that's the one. And look, I think it was decent just to see a great display of wrestling from someone like Macy Chiasson. I think it was fantastic. Of course, that Irina Aldana just was just so great at that boxing as well. Like this was gonna be a banger. Macy Chiasson comes forwards. Irina Aldana wasn't chasing her around the octagon like she did Holly Holm, and that was just a frustrating fight to watch when she's just chasing someone else. But yeah, I think it lived up to it just because they did stand and they did bang, and for the duration of it, it was just quite exciting, quite good, quite clean. I've got some chats here actually. We're just going to read out quickly because it is Wales 2NJ in the chats here. Shout out to you, Wales 2NJ. Thanks for chiming on in. But he had some opinions on the whole Hamzat Chimaev thing. He said he's going to be the next GSP dominant. That's what Wales 2NJ say. Now that's his words, not mine. I mean, GSP.
So GSP, I always the UFC. I relate to a lot of pro wrestling, right? Faces and heels. Hamza is going full heel, which means bad guy. I don't know if you're familiar with the WWE language or pro wrestling language, but heel is the bad guy. Hamza's full on heel. GSP was always a baby face. So as far as dominant, that could be possible, but GSP took a loss and then went on that dominant run after the Matt Sierra kick, that kind of woke him up, and he kind of changed a little bit of fighting a little bit. But I mean, Hamzat's got a long way to prove that he can be GSP, because GSP is a GOAT in this game.
Yeah, he is. I think it might be a bit too early to say that. But
hey, he's got to get on the scale first and make weight, and then talk to me about being GSP.
Thank you. Yeah, let's do it at the right weight class. And that's something was just chopping up as well in sort of after the fight. We looked at the rankings. Is he going to be able to fight Kobe Covington at the same weight class as a welterweight, or is he going to have to go up go up weight class to middleweight and maybe Paulo Costa? I mean, both of those are interesting options, but one comes at a risk if he can't make weight again. We can't be having the same sort of mix-up. Although it panned out well this time, we can't have that again.
Imagine had this been a title fight, right? Like, I mean, imagine. So really what was going to happen was, hey, you go out here and you do this dirty work for us.
Yeah.
Hamzat, you beat Nate Diaz, just demolish him on his way out. We don't want to see him. We don't want to hear from him. We're going to look at the Nate Diaz's last, like 5 of his last 6 opponents that beat him. Guess what they did? They got to fight for the title. So they were going to serve Hamzat. Hey, you beat Nate Diaz. Guess what you get to do? You get to go fight Leon Edwards or maybe Kamaru Usman. Who wins that rematch? That's what was going to happen.
He's going to go straight for the title. Do you think?
Yeah, 100%. They were going to do that for him. You go out and destroy our boy Nate Diaz, and then Hamzat just fumbled the bag.
He did. If he was able to have done that, then there's no reason why you shouldn't have been up there in contention for it. But yeah, for now, he's going to have to get another fight first.
What if this was a title fight and he was going to fight Leon and he's 10 pounds over? You know what I mean? What's the UFC doing then? They're not just going to swap around. They're lucky there was no title on the line, right? Like they couldn't just cut off. There was the co-main you couldn't have sold Tony Ferguson versus the Leech as the main, pay whatever type of money for that fight. But they're lucky this didn't have a title attached to it and they could rearrange all these guys.
Yeah, that's it. That's true. Well, Swen J just chimed in here. He says, it worked out for us old school guys, MMA fans. We didn't want to see Hamzat Chimaev ragdoll Nate. Tony versus Nate was a better matchup. Yeah, look, in the end, it did work out. But these things don't always. It's just by sheer luck.
Hey, the fight gods looked out for Nate Diaz. I mean, they came down, said, Nate, you're a dog of all dogs. You've done it all. We're gonna look out for you on this. We know that evil man Dana White is trying to screw you over. Yeah. We're gonna help you here. Yeah. We're gonna. Hey, the fight gods looked out for Nate Diaz. We got you this time, Nate. Go handle your business, and that'll be it.
Leave it on the terms that he loves. But yeah, no, it was a great shout out, great commentary at the very end of the fight for him as well, to sort of like give honor to UFC Dana White, but respectfully departed.
He got emotional. He was really emotional.
Yeah, 100%. Wells to NJ saying shout out to Zai. Thanks. Shout out to you, Wells to NJ, with the great questions and participation. And thanks so much, man. That's awesome. I think we're in the last fight, the first fight tonight, but also the last one we're going to comment on, and that's the Johnny Walker versus Ion Cutelaba. Johnny Walker, of course, managed to get this the submission in that fight. But how did you think that planned out? And do you think it was? And also want to comment actually as well about the fact that he was walking around Las Vegas in his fight attire after the. Oh,
I didn't see that. I didn't see it. Johnny Walker was. Yeah. I believe that coming from Johnny Walker actually. So that was wild. He's a character. Yeah,
he generally is. Yeah. Well, first in the fight, I mean, what was your sort of take on it? I mean, first fight on the fight card, did it sort of live up to expectations? It started the card off well, yeah.
It did, and it was kind of. I thought, you think if Johnny Walker's going to win, he's going to knock somebody out. Good for him, because Ian Cabela kind of put it on him, and it looked like I was like, man, Johnny's just too fast, too much. And then it's just been on this downward spiral since. Like I said, I mean, last time we saw him, he was getting knocked out by Hill.
Do you remember that? Yeah. That was like some cartoon Disney shit. That was
exactly like hey, Woody's mom walked into from Andy's mom walked into the room on Toy Story, and everybody just got to fall flat.
Exactly that. Oh man, that was comical. That was Jamal Hill put him to sleep.
Yeah, put him to sleep. So we haven't seen Johnny since then. So it was a nice comeback win for him. I thought, surprisingly, it ended in the first. If it was going to be a first round Johnny Walker win, I would have told you it's not by knockout.
That's what I
never would have thought about submission. But good for him. He keeps his ranking. Now next time he'll be able to try to fight up. That's how it is you fight down one fight because you're coming off a loss, and you got to you can try to fight back up once you hold your ranking.
Yeah, look, 100%. Yeah, and straight after the fight, was going into the rest of the fight going on up on the card. Johnny Walker wanted to get back into the arena so he can watch other fights on the card, but apparently UFC was saying, no, you can't come in. And he's running around Vegas in his fight attire, still with the gloves on, barefoot. And you know, I mean, suspicious that it's a bit of a media marketing ploy. Maybe I don't know. But that's how wild is that? You know, I mean,
that is wild.
Is it anything else that's just going to be out of the ordinary happening with this event? I thought we saw it all.
I mean, that's like you look at the event though, like, you know, this whole week, that's like still the last thing on the list, right? Was Johnny Walker was like walking around in his you know, barefoot through Vegas. Like that usually might be up here on the list, but with this fight card, it's got to be still at the bottom. Like, oh yeah, like this morning, I totally forgot that Kevin Holland and Darren Till were like, you know, chirping at each other at a restaurant. And I was like, I forgot to talk about that, you know, like just because like it was so much had happened in like the 24 hours before the fights.
So much happened during and after as well, apparently. But well, I think that sort of draws us towards the end of our little watch along of our little fan cam. To be honest, I think we've gone through the card. We've commented on most of the stuff here. There's one question I did want to ask you though, and I do genuinely want to get your fan opinion on it. And then we sort of wrap it up there really. But it's about Tony Ferguson. You know, and there's been rumors. I mean, we thought that maybe he might be hanging up his gloves after this fight. You know, he had a spectacular streak going on, and it's just not been turning out well for him, even after rejigging his camp and having his best efforts at another weight class. And of course, he didn't actually get to fight at that particular weight class because of the catch weight swap up and everything. But didn't fight anyone ranked. But in the weight class. But what's your general opinions on what happens next for him? Should he hang up his gloves? Let's get your final opinions on that.
So I thought he was going to. I think he should have. It's over for Tony. Like, I mean, father time comes for there's one thing undefeated in life, and that's father time. You know, he'll come and get us eventually. So it's time. Tony, but he seems like he was more jacked up. Like, I'm back in it, Joe. Like Tony, like
you lost. You realize that, right?
Yes, he's delusional. Like it's just he's like hung up on Khabib, like it's still like 2019 almost. Like he's just like still every interview he talks about Khabib and this, Khabib that. Like he's not ever focused, I don't think, on his next fight. So I think it's time for Tony to hang it up. I mean, he's lost. It's not like he's losing still to bums, you know, or like he's lost to the best lightweights there is. Like and then he's lost to, you know, Nate Diaz, which is obviously, you know, everybody knows that's not an easy fight, you know.
No.
So it's not like he's losing into other guys, but I picked Tony to lose to the Leech had that fight happened. I just thought that the Leech was just until Tony wins again, I'll probably have to keep picking against him.
Yeah, exactly that. And if he had lost to Leech, then I think that's a legitimate argument to then say, look, for sure, hang up big gloves.
Yeah, hang it up.
Yeah, but this is it. It's crazy. You know, he's the type of guy though to go on like maybe a 6-fight loss streak and then step straight into a title belt. You know, that's Tony Ferguson for you. You know, El Kakoi. All right, man. Well, look, it's been awesome having you on the show, Nick. I've actually thoroughly enjoyed it. I hope the fans have as well. Wells2NJ, thanks for your comments here. He said that he thought Johnny was off the CBD at the time when he had been wandering around. Hey, quit marijuana, got on a little something else. You know what I mean?
I
mean, he was on something. That guy, that's whack. That's whack. I mean, half the time I think he's always on that stuff. I mean, he's you know,
he's a character.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, honestly, we're talking about some absolute legends here on the fight card. Wells2NJ commented on the fact how most of these guys took these fights on the last 2 days' notice. So we do have to mention how awesome it is for him to still bring such great entertainment to our TV screens after that, making it happen. You know, shuffling around with it.
They could have. Nate especially could have said no. You know what I mean? Like Kevin Holland, all of them could have said F it. But I think what happens is Dana White shows up with a bag full of money. It's hard to turn down this undisclosed amount of money these boys those 6 guys probably got.
Yeah, I mean, they probably just wrote the check there and then, and whatever they wanted, put a number down.
Another zero, another zero.
All right, let's go.
All right.
Exactly.
Just say when as they continue to draw zeros.
I would love to have been a fly in the wall when they were making those conversations for sure, bro. All right, man. But look, again, Nick, thanks so much for jumping onto the channel. Really value your opinions. Stay locked, stay tuned. And of course, for those of you guys watching, this is Nick. Nick, do you want to have a stage for just 5 seconds and just a bit of a shout out?
Yeah, if I'm gonna shut out my channel, if you guys want to come over to the Bodkin Show, it's right on YouTube. We stream on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, We also have a little UFC show inside that airs tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Central Time Zone here in the States. So it's called Head Kicks and Haymakers, but it can be seen on the Bodkins channel. So if you guys could just head over there, give it a nice subscribe. We also do I also talk a lot of football, all sports really, but we do have a UFC specific show. So head over there, hit the old subscribe button, be a friend, tell a friend, share with a friend.
Love it. Love it. Nick, thanks so much, man. Absolute pleasure.
I appreciate it, guys.
All right. Peace out. All. Have a great night, evening, or rest of the day, depending on where you are watching this. But yeah, peace out and enjoy the rest. We'll see you next week.